computer.
Perfect.
Okay, well, here we go, Stephanie, you and
Excellent.
me.
Yes.
I'm excited to talk about it, the subject that you have in regards to fitness.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I think that that is, in my opinion, I may pin us so we're like side by side here when we do this. There we go. Now we're side by side. Okay. When it comes to Healy, um, I think that now with the new systems, they are now kind of niche marketing. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So the stage is
But
yours. What do you want to
I
do?
think it's amazing. I actually think that, well, that's why I wanted to dive deeply into this. So I'm French Canadian, so I'm kind of like often translating directly. So sometimes the words will just stumble out. So just bear with me, but uh, it'll be fine.
That's a
Um,
talent. That's a talent, by the way.
yeah. Okay. Good.
Your brain is working in amazing ways.
I am very talented, I guess. All
Yes.
right. So yeah, it is. It's a great topic because I really want to dive deep into trying to help people because I know that, frequency technology can increase ATP production, can actually go in and repair tissue by the action of bringing in more amino acids and helping the transport of them, getting to the location. But I was doing some research on data, and there wasn't a lot of research on how the frequencies were actually helping people in the fitness world, helping like how do the frequencies help prepare the body? Do they help? Well, obviously help with regeneration. But I've also often seen you, so I'm double healing often. I'll always do the double Healy. So I was like, okay, so I see you wearing it while you're training. So how are you using it, and how have you seen the impact? Like, what have you gotten out of all that?
And that's a great question. So let me start with and if you're going to use this for further training or whatever you are going to do, let me just start with um, maybe my qualifiers. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So number one, my degree is in engineering, specifically in electronics and technical. And then my further studies over the last decade are in epigenetics and neuroscience. Okay. In other
Ooh.
words, neuroscience, how the brain works. Well, let's go this way, how the entire electrical system works, right? Every neuron. And then epigenetics in terms of how genetic codes are created. Now,
Mm.
when we go to that level, so what I do from an engineering perspective, what I've learned from engineering is there are principles, and when you put principles together, right, they create a system. You put systems together, they create networks. You can build empires, but it's all based on a principle, right? You can't really have a city without its principles. What's its purpose? What's its revenue? What's its government like? What's its citizens like? There's pieces like you mentioned, French, Canadian, and English. There's two principles for those languages, and right, and sometimes they can get jumbled up when you're
Mm.
when you're trying to present under one specific condition, chaos or disorder.
Right. Right.
Things get disrupted. So behind me, there's this bridge you see right there. That's actually one of the historical bridges here in the city I live. And even without principles, that couldn't be built, and it wouldn't be standing there hundreds over 100 years later,
Right.
right? Um, so what I'm going to talk about are principles, and the cool thing about that is that you can apply them in any industry, any arena, any
Wow.
human. Okay, and when we know these principles, all of a sudden what happens, Stephanie, is freedom. It's like, okay, we could get all the data, all the research, and all the content around microcurrent and understand those principles. Well, guess what? Now we have a device that transmits that. We don't need to prove it. We don't need to prove it. We already know that from the early 1900s, microcurrent has been established as a modality for increasing ATP production by up to 500%,
Mm.
right? It's established. Research and studies show that it increases amino acid transport by up to 40% and protein synthesis by up to 70%. We don't have to prove that. Healy
Right,
does
right.
not have to prove that. Science has done it for us.
Mm,
And unlike the pharmaceutical companies where they pay for their own research, right? The research in what we use has been paid for by the people who are amazed at its result.
mm.
And they want to show everyone that it's possible because of this modality, because of this principle. And that's where science, I think that's where science makes much bigger leaps and bounds in spreading the word
Yeah,
than when you're just targeted on like one chemical. Okay. Okay. So understanding the microcurrent aspect. Now let's take a look at how would that translate into fitness. And it, I mean, I guess specifically repair, recovery, and growth. Okay,
right,
when it comes to fitness, we want to have a proper protocol for pre-workout nutrition, during workout hydration, and post workout nutrition, and that builds a recovery protocol, right? A preparation protocol, a sustainable protocol, and then a recovery, right? So
right.
prep, sustain, recover. Okay, so again, those are principles. and
Mm,
and I get so many. So I studied performance nutrition as well.
right.
I taught martial arts for over 2 decades in a
Mm,
highly competitive arena, right? And so the body had to perform. And so I did. This is some of the reason, the stimulus for my studies, because my understanding in epigenetics and neuroscience has only been the last decade, but I trained in martial arts as an instructor for over 2 decades.
mm.
So there was a period of time that I was just, I guess, operating on instincts, not as much education. And then the more education we get, again, with the principles of engineering, I can start putting these things together and just have a better result. So in the world of repair, recovery, and growth, microcurrent alone does exactly what I just described earlier. If you had
Right,
that much more ATP, adenosine triphosphate, what is ATP? It is the contents, it is the structure in the mitochondria for building energy, right? That's where it's at, that's where it lives, and it's a process of consumption and replenishment. Consumption and replenishment. One molecule, another molecule, one molecule, another molecule. Now, the faster you can get that turnover rate, right? The materials need to be available and waiting for when
yeah.
the consumption is there, it's put right back in. And so the timing in which that happens determines your energy, your
Mm,
body's ability at the cell level.
mm. So it needs and we need like exactly the coenzyme Q10 and the copper and there's minerals and vitamins that come into play with that, no?
That's different things that feed the cell in other ways. Um, but when it comes down, when we boil things down to the very tiny, we get down to the molecule, right?
Yeah.
Everything is energy.
Right.
Everything is energy. And
Right.
this is what we need to, people are now understanding that.
Yeah.
And the only separation between one form of energy and another, aka a skin cell and a bone cell, is its frequency.
Right.
Okay,
It's
wow.
wild. It's
That
wild when you think about it.
that makes it pretty easy, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
we just made things super simple
Yeah.
because I could take a map, I could take a look at a map, and I could see the route to New York, and I could see every road, every avenue, everything I had to do to get to my destination, right? So that makes it really simple to travel. So this is what we're doing now. We're
Mm,
traveling to a very specific cell. We can guide microcurrent. We can put it out into the body. Right. So I'm running microcurrent, you're running microcurrent, you're also running a magnetic signal. So the microcurrent is essentially it has it's like we are a battery with a
yeah.
positive and negative terminal.
Right.
Okay. And Healy is pumping energy in through the negative, and electron flows to the positive, back through the Healy, to the negative, to the positive, to the negative, through the Healy, round and round and round.
Right.
So you're a circuit.
Right.
Okay. And the electrons that are going through, billions of electrons, have information in them.
Mm,
So when we're trying to figure out if it's a skin cell or a bone cell, we look at the electron. It is it's it's filled with information, and the information is frequency.
exactly.
And so we're pumping electrons out of the Healy, consumed, filled, I don't know, gassed up with the frequency.
Yeah.
It goes through the body and resonates with very specific cells at the same frequency. And I want everyone to understand that when we are have two like frequencies, they amplify. Okay, that's called coherent signal. It's called
Mm,
in physics called constructive interference. Constructive interference. We amplify that one electron or that frequency that's involved with that molecule, which is a cell, a tissue, whatever. Okay, I keep going back down to the electron because we go back down to the molecule, but it builds up into the cell because there's billions of molecules in a cell,
hmm.
trillions of cells in a body. And then there's 8 billion bodies on the planet. Okay, so there's a lot of electrons,
Lots of information.
lots of information. And so when we're able to influence the tiny and we give it information, in other words, we oscillate it at a frequency and we send it into this body, it will then coherently, constructively amplify whatever its like and kind.
Mm,
It will, on the opposite side of that coin, nullify or become destructive interference to its opposite.
mm.
Now, I want you to think about that
Interesting.
for a second
Yeah.
because we're doing two things at once. We're amplifying, let's just say we're running the program muscle. It's my favorite.
Is it?
I run it every day.
Okay.
Little hint. I have
Okay.
not been in the gym. I have not been in the gym for almost 4 years.
What?
Between you and me, oh shoot, this is recorded. Okay, well,
I won't share it to many people, don't worry.
I've been doing an experiment for 4 years. And I
Okay.
had, prior to that, I mean, yep, I had a trainer. I was a wrestler in high school. I was not really ever a couch potato, but I was not ever, I mean, at some point, life takes over and I wasn't like this
Yeah.
trim and fit six packer. Um, and then I was also a martial arts instructor, all that stuff, very active. I had a trainer, but then I started to work on a minimalistic, principle based formula.
Mm, mm.
How do I do with least amount of effort, max amount of results?
Right.
And I started working on my nutrition. I had a certain result. Okay. I started working on my workout. I had a certain result. I started working on my mind and I had a phenomenal result.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the epigenetic phenomenon that
Mm,
I will address in a little bit. Um, but then, and it wasn't until I got the Healy, because I told my trainer, I said, okay, I'm getting involved in this new technology from Germany. And I mean, I've been doing this minimalistic thing, and now I believe I can do another level with microcurrent. And he was like, he was skeptical, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
which is the
Fair enough.
mainstream. Yeah, the
Right.
mainstream world is believes in contemporary.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that model has its place, has its purpose, has its result.
Hmm.
And yet we're the sickest we've ever been.
Well said. Yeah.
So is it working for you? That's the only question I ever ask anybody. Is what you're doing working for you? And
Yeah.
and let me show you how I've experimented on myself and then taught others, and they've done the experiment and they've had the same result. When we can duplicate a result, then it's truth.
Yeah. 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 It's a system.
It's a system. It's something that we can teach. We can
Yeah.
have expectations. We can even research because we have a model.
Right.
And so, yeah, 4 years ago, I told him this. And now I want you to understand, I had drilled down my workout, ramped up my nutrition, built a mind of possibility. I drilled down my workout to 30 minutes once a week. And I still And my nutrition was essentially one specific combination once a day. I could still eat ice cream if I wanted. I still did certain things because I
Yeah.
was, again, the experiment is um, more so the utilization or the way in which your body is doing what it's doing with what you're giving it,
Right.
and how you, as the puppeteer, are regulating that. It's
Right.
you that regulates
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I figured out that formula, started downsizing and minimalizing everything. And as a result, one amazing smoothie a day, 30-minute workout. And then I cut all of that out and went to the Healy and the microcurrent. And so I have changed
Wait,
my
wait,
way.
wait. You cut out the smoothie and you
No,
cut.
no, I did not cut out the
Okay.
smoothie. Sorry. I cut out the workout. I cut out the trainer. The
Okay.
smoothie, I mean, we still have to give the raw materials to the body.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
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 I
Because
mean,
you could do all the digital nutrition, but I mean, you still need the
you
material.
you
Yeah.
you got to
You need
have,
to.
I mean, you could build a concept house in your mind or on the computer, but well, you want to live in it, you need a real roof on it.
Right.
And
Right, right,
it's
right.
nice to have some walls and some privacy if you're taking a shower. I'm just saying,
Absolutely.
maybe there's some pieces that really need to be there. You in your mind you can disappear, nobody can see me. Close my
Right.
eyes, you can't see me taking a shower, and it's like, okay, you're drawing a crowd, girl. Stop this. So the idea is that we need some building blocks, and there are nutritional components, as you mentioned earlier. Some of the CoQ10s, the vitamins, minerals, proteins, or amino acids. I like to really um, stress amino acids and the right amino acids because those are the smaller components of proteins,
Yeah.
the real building blocks. So you can eat an amazing, I don't care if you're a vegan, you can have a vegetable protein, or if you're not, you could have a chicken protein. You can have a protein, but if there's not all of the other 9 essentials on board,
Yeah.
the assimilation and the bioavailability depletes.
Right, right.
So, so we need to make sure we know that model and we support that model.
Mm.
And then, of course, what Healy does in the digital nutrition aspect is it simply improves cell receptor site receptivity.
Mm.
Um, and so again, there's the electron is out there in the environment, and the cell goes, I recognize that. Boom, suck it in,
Oh, nice.
suck it
Okay.
in, right? So
Right.
bioavailability of from the cell's perspective increases for all the other stuff you're eating.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't realize that. That's
See how that
good.
you see how that works? Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
using
Yeah.
microcurrent, aka electron flow, with very specific frequencies to entice the cells, or aka the body, to
Yeah.
make what you're ingesting more available to the cell as a
Right.
building block.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
That's key.
well,
That's amazing.
this is why Healy went into a digital nutrition mix that has a label for, say, I don't care, hair or skin or performance or whatever. We have 6 pages, 12
Yeah.
programs, 72 programs. Okay.
Amazing. Yeah.
And,
Love
and
them.
they're mixes though. That's because some things accent another, and for their purpose, they're built together in unison to do that. And
Yeah. Synergistic.
synergistic, exactly. Okay. So then back to how we're taking this signaling system, this electron flow, and changing the body and creating things. The muscle program is okay. Let me back up for one more second and give
Yeah.
another principle. Here's another
Okay.
principle.
All good.
Um, in epigenetics, look at it this way: your body is turning over 800,000 cells per second.
Yeah.
Okay, this is just happening now. If it's one or two less or more, that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
800,000 cells per second. Just program that in.
Yeah. That's a lot.
It could be 900,000. It may be in sometimes, but the point
Yeah.
is just put that in your head.
Yeah.
800,000 cells per second. And there's a genetic code written for every one of those cells, right? And that genetic code, the cool thing about that genetic code is it is extremely intelligent. It's got its own intelligence. In other words, that code determines whether each cell that my body recreates still looks like me.
Right.
And I don't morph into Stephanie or or into a tree. I mean,
Uh,
I don't at the cell level morph into some other thing that doesn't look like me or represent me. Still the same color eyes, still the same length of femur bone, right? Still the same general content.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, only 3% of that genetic code does that.
Right.
Only 3% of that entire code, divine matrix of amazing intelligence, 3% of it does exactly that to keep me looking like me, you looking like you, and that kind of thing. Now, the other 97% is an adaptive gene reading the environment to determine what quality and kind of you. What quality and kind of you. And this is where things change.
Yeah.
Huge. This is where we have the mother lode influence. And this is where Healy comes in
Mm.
to we can call it whatever we want. I like the word seduce that signal. Let's
Oh,
seduce
I
it. We're going to
like
seduce
that.
that 97% of that code into being something super sexy,
Yeah.
super strong, superhuman. I don't,
Yeah.
whatever you can achieve up here,
Yeah.
Healy will help you uh, create in here.
Yeah. Wow.
And there's a principle that goes along with that. And it says that what the mind cannot believe, the body will not achieve.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
So you can use your Healy all day long, and you can use 100 Healys on yourself. You can eat right, you can exercise, you can sleep well, and you can still be broken.
Yeah.
You can
Wow.
still wind up with a diagnosis, a disease, a disorder, some dysfunction in your
Absolutely.
life.
Yeah.
And it happens. It happens all the time
Yeah.
because people think that they're managing their conditions properly.
Right.
And and the body has its own story. The body's 100% objective. It just wants to serve you, and the definition of you is a consciousness. Okay? And so it's not your brain. Your
Mm.
brain is just an organ, no different than your heart, no different than your kidneys.
The command system. It's a commander.
It is an organ.
Yeah.
It really is a slave unit
Mm.
that does it. It's probably it is the master slave unit.
Yeah.
It's still a slave unit. That word might offend somebody. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anybody, but it is something being used,
Yeah.
right? By what? By your consciousness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And there's great authors out there that talk about consciousness. Viktor Frankl is one I really love his books in. Is he's an amazing writer. Um, Another one is
Viktor Frankl.
Viktor Frankl. He's German.
Yep.
He's got a book that what's the name of it? I'll think of it in a minute.
Okay.
But um, he has an amazing ability to show you how mind can change matter. Right? He talks about it.
I
He
believe
talks
it.
about from a psychological perspective because he's a psychologist
Mm.
that was in he was captured as a Jewish prisoner of war, went through that war camp and survived. Anyway,
Wow. Wow.
um, so that's just another thing about consciousness. So consciousness is what we would call the quantum field. It is where we are tapped into an infinite intelligence. And if we don't believe that, then I often ask people, well, then stop that 800,000 cells per second from changing. Just take a pause for a minute because the rate of that 800,000 cells per second change and the way that it does it and the quality of it, if you could stop it, you would stop aging. But you can't because it's continuously recreating itself. That's what keeps our bodies functioning, and it uses energy at a certain rate. This is again ATP, mitochondria, all of that. So you want to go ahead.
You bring up a good point, is that the aging, there's a difference between the evolution and the aging. I think aging is also a construct. If you believe that you're aging and that your body weakens and then you get sick and you finish your days off lying on a bed with no energy. I mean, that's like so many people are like, oh, well, I've got this, and they label it. And then they've just labeled themselves for life.
They allow aging to be a vehicle for becoming irresponsible
Right. Really. Totally.
because we can age gracefully
Yeah.
through vitality and health, or we
Yes.
can age in chaos, disorder, and dependency as a victim in lack, whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the two bodies, if you could have identical twins, and studies have shown this,
Mm-hmm.
you have two identical twins and they are in different environments. One, chaos, disorder, stress, trauma. The other, the golden spoon, right? And take a look at them at 60 and they look 20 years difference.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Completely different people, almost not recognizable from
Wow.
one to the other
Wow.
as twins, as biological and genetic twins. They're also doing experiments to shoot one to the moon and one stay here, find out what's going on. Take them off orbit, off planet, and see what happens when they're in different proximity that far apart
Environments, right?
environment. So
Yeah.
so so back to the mind and 4 years abstinent from the gym doesn't mean I'm not active. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting on the couch. I love to go hiking. I love to,
Yeah.
I build stuff on my house all the time. I'm always, we got yard work. I got property. I'm always doing
Hmm.
something. And so uh, yet I'm not actually doing what we would call is working out with the cliche. And the body does not know the difference between something you make up in your mind or some experience you're having in your three-dimensional space.
Right.
It just wants to serve your belief. And when you have an experience, when you use your senses to look at your environment, you see it, you hear it, you smell it, you taste it, you touch it. All of that creates a blueprint, a tangible understanding of three-dimensional space and time. It's a belief. It's still a belief because you and I
Yeah.
we could sit at the same beach looking at the same sunset, and I could be angry because the wind's blowing in my hair and messing it up. And you could be like, "Hooey, baby, I love that sunset." And the difference is
Yeah.
the 800,000 cells per second in my body
Mm.
will be a lower quality than the
Mm.
800,000 per second in your body.
Hmm.
They'll be lower quality because I'm determining their quality and kind. They'll still look like me,
Yeah.
but I'll accelerate my aging because of one thing. I have moved my autonomic nervous system into sympathetic,
Right.
into fight or flight to whatever
Yes.
degree. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter how much. The
Yeah.
point is that it is.
Yeah. Stress, anger.
Yep.
Yeah.
Disappointment,
Yeah.
judgment, frustration with my messy hair because the wind, whatever. All of that is key content because I don't feel safe.
Right.
Your consciousness 3 times per second is saying safe, not safe, safe, not safe, safe, not safe. You're doing it right now.
Mm.
I'm doing it right now. Safe, not safe, safe, not safe. That's your subconscious is saying, is this safe or is this not?
Mm.
And when you're maybe speaking to a group in a public setting or something like that, there may be this nervousness, and the subconscious say not safe, and you'll feel this. You'll be sweating. You may be stuttering on your words. Your focus is gone. You'll feel this heat in your face. Whatever's going
Mhm.
on, those biological and physiological changes, those things are happening in real space and time because of your perception.
Right. Right.
Okay. So the body is not recovering in the sympathetic nervous state.
No.
It's not recovering. It's not a time to repair. It's not designed for long-term or even short-term recovery projects or
Mm.
rebuilding projects. It's not what it's for. It's for mobilizing energy to the extremities, to the acuity, to fight, run, or hide, protect and preserve life.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
And the other side of the coin is the parasympathetic, which is rest and digest and named appropriately.
Hmm.
Because at that point the body is in low consumption of extremities, and the energy then can go into the digestive system or the main bulk of the organs so that they can do their work.
Mm.
And let me tell you a little secret. Another one is that the energy consumption between the two are not the same.
All right.
When you're in rest and digest, you're consuming about 1/3 of the amount of energy your body has
Wow.
available. So think about it. Fight or flight, 3 times as much energy consumption. Now that's a conservative estimate.
Yeah.
So why do you think you're so damn tired by 3 o'clock in the afternoon when you've been freaking out about everything?
I know, insane. People live in the sympathetic all the time now and wired on caffeine because they're so damn tired. It's just like
Yep,
this.
yep. Because and again, that caffeine thing is a whole nother, downhill cascade because you
Oh,
shoot some caffeine, you're not drinking liquid energy.
no.
You're not drinking liquid mitochondria.
No.
You're not.
Yeah.
You're drinking a stimulus enhancer. You're
Yeah.
drinking an adrenaline trigger. So
Right.
you're drinking something that goes into your body and artificially tasks your adrenal glands to secrete adrenaline so you feel more energy.
Right.
Well, that's taken from your cup. You didn't
Yeah.
get any more. It's taken from the cup that you were given. Every circadian rhythm, you
Mm,
get a full cup of energy. And how it's spent over the day determines how you feel at the end,
mm,
and as well as what systems have been engaged, and how sympathetic, parasympathetic, exercising up a hill, doing an email, whatever it is, everything you're doing, digesting food, giving a big hug to the people you love. I don't care. All of that stuff that you're doing consumes energy, and you have one cup that it feeds from. At the end of the day, the end of that circadian rhythm, it's empty, and you have to go to sleep and recover it. And then the next morning, you get a brand new full one. You don't get more from, you don't get, if you don't use all the yesterdays, you don't get it on the next day. Nope, it's gone. You don't get a stockpile of that circadian rhythm energy. It doesn't work that way.
mm.
You get the same amount of energy every day. The difference is that you could start the day less depleted because all night long your body was already robbed of resources from the day, robbed of resources. You don't have the building blocks to rebuild the body. All those projects for recovery happens between the midnight and 2 a.m. circadian rhythm point. That's where your main repair happens in your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you need to be asleep. How many people are still up at midnight?
I know. I know. Crazy.
I'm just saying. So,
Mm,
so again, this is a cycle. And these are principles. If you understand the principles, you're like, okay, well, sleep is important. I'm not
mm.
saying you have to get 8 hours of sleep. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that your repair and recovery protocol is maximized between midnight and 2 a.m., but you need to be in REM. You need to be in deep sleep.
Yeah.
That may take an hour or so. And so maybe you can dive right into it right out of the when your head hits the pillow, whatever. But you need to be in that state. The other part of the equation is that during the day, you need to spend a 80% of your time into the parasympathetic, the rested, non-stress state,
Hmm.
80%.
Mm.
It's an 80-20 rule, everybody.
Ah, yeah.
There's people out there saying, oh, it's a 75-25. I'd rather be 80-20.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Because my body's just healing more.
Exactly.
So,
That's wild. I actually quit coffee 2 months ago. It was something that I've been working on for a long time. I work as a naturopath, by the way. I don't know if you can, I have all these books behind me. I'm super passionate about health and wellness, and I actually healed myself from breast cancer. Anyways, that's a long story. And I know I'm so passionate about the topic about epigenetics and how that influences the body. I mean, we have so much power over our body and and the outcome. And I was doing everything right, and I was like, oh God, I need to quit this coffee, and it was so tough because it's this. this flavor. It's a ritual. It's, it's this thing that we do in the morning. And I finally managed to cut to, organic and then decaf, and then I'm doing like a chicory root in the morning, and I'm nurturing the spleen instead of like just depleting my adrenals with from energy. So yeah, I have, and I'm a person with a lot of fire anyway, so I kind of needed to calm that down anyway. So I feel very relaxed. And it's the best thing. Honestly, I'm trying to teach all my clients to do that same thing, to just come back into a natural rhythm and stop living off caffeine.
But you said something that's significant there when we're trying to stop a behavior pattern. There are some aspects to it. One is the mental aspect, the emotional aspect, the attachment, and then there's the
Mhm.
physical aspect. Right. So the mental part, like the meaning of coffee, and then the emotional part, which is the smell and the ritual
Yeah.
of the coffee. Like when you have a coffee with a person you love,
Mhm.
or at a certain time of day when you're just in awe of the sunrise, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And then there's the physical aspects, which is again the body becomes acclimated to this extra booster or this artificial trigger, so that it won't produce that much adrenaline on its own. It's like, well,
Mhm.
I have a crutch coming. I just got to wait.
Right.
This crutch will come. And my host will suck it down. And I'm like, ooh, okay, turn it on, baby. And on it goes. The body's just a servant. It
Right.
just wants to serve you, but it has intelligence.
Yeah.
It has intelligence, and it is a precognitive intelligence. In other
Mhm.
words, it reads your mind. It
Mhm.
reads the mind, and because it already has a history of what's necessary to keep it in survival, and we can even test this point. If you don't believe me that the body reads the mind, okay, then what I want you to do is just sit in your chair, relax for a minute, daydream for a second, and then stand up. Well, before you do that, I want you to pretend to stand up 5 times. Just in your mind, I'm gonna stand up. Oh, just kidding. And then you go, I'm gonna stand up. Okay, just kidding. Got you again. And then one time out of there, just actually do stand up. And when you stand up, if you have proper resources, in other words, you're not sick, or you weren't holding your breath for the last 5 minutes, or you are in some amazing stress response. When you stand up, you will not get lightheaded.
Ah.
Why not? You've probably in your past stood up and got lightheaded. It's like, well, why did I get lightheaded then? It's because the body was restricted in resources. But the reason you didn't get lightheaded is because the body knew when you were kidding, and it knew when you were actually going to stand up, and it shot a little bit of adrenaline into your system to put more oxygen in the brain. You didn't get lightheaded.
Mm.
The
All right. I want to go back to this muscle program that is your favorite. And
Yep.
how come you are so fit now with that? So is it the same thing that we're doing? We're kind of tricking, not tricking, but I mean,
No, that's a valid word. We're seducing. How about that?
seducing. I like that word. That's better. So
um,
you're seducing the muscles into an activity, into, because it's not really active, but it's,
hmm.
how would you describe it? So what's going on there?
I'm seducing the code,
Oh,
and the muscle is the result. 97% of the adaptive of that genetic code is adaptive. It's an adaptive gene reading the environment. And the one thing it reads is frequency. So if I can pump a frequency into the environment, the body does not know the difference. It wants to serve you all the way down to the genetic level. And so that genetic code, that strand now has a very complete signal within that 97% that is around muscle. And the body just develops this muscle. And there's so many studies that are going on right now where people are developing muscle without what we would call the standard workout process.
right, right. Because it's true what you're saying. Because I mean, you could picture yourself, like a lot of athletes will prepare for games, actually visualizing their
Yep.
action. So the brain doesn't know the difference. So
The
it's a bit
body doesn't know
similar.
the difference. The body
The
doesn't know the difference.
right, the body.
The brain is creating the fantasy,
Hmm.
right? And well, let's put it this way. The mind is creating the fantasy. The brain believes it, right? This is another key point. You
Yeah.
can't look in the mirror 40 pounds overweight and say, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, because the eyes are taking content in, the brain's going, I don't believe you. I'm seeing a different picture here. I'm just saying, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And the body then expresses what the mind believes.
Right.
And the brain is its instrument.
Mm.
Brain is the mind's instrument. And so it creates this signaling system into the body to produce an outcome. Now we're also sending a signal into the body with microcurrent or magnetic energy emissions into the body that are speaking directly to that genetic code outside of the mind. Okay.
Hmm.
Outside of the mind, outside of the brain, but the mind is more powerful. Like I said, the body can never achieve what the mind will not believe. The mind is more powerful. So we can give it all these resources, and then we can still think we're ugly, and we're too fat,
Yeah.
and we're unworthy, and nobody likes me. And the body will just go, let me show you the truth of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And that's so true. I just want to share a testimonial that I have with one of my clients who has fibromyalgia, and she's so used to being sick. She's so used to being in that kind of victim mode, and she sees her, she has a very, and that's what we're working on, but the more that she's resistant in her mind, the more she's resisting the frequencies coming into the body.
oh my gosh, I'll tell you a little story, Stephanie. I do a lot of tech work with people with
Yeah.
this Healy, and they're like, remember, I don't know if you remember the early editions of the Healy app. There was a circle and there was a line that was go around in a circle. It was either white or black. And if it was black, that meant you had no current flow through your body.
Right. Okay.
Now we have this cool little wavy thing across the screen,
Yeah.
and it tells you
Yeah.
frequencies are being transmitted, but there's no current flow in your body, right? So it
Yeah.
tells us when that happens. Anyway, I would get people like, I got a black line, I got a black line. And, or even now I still get it. People are saying, I got this signal that says this message, I'm not getting a signal. And so we'll do the diagnostics, we'll check the connections. We'll make sure the wristband is hydrated on the body. We'll make sure the body's hydrated. We'll make sure all of the things are plugged in right, and I even have a little test where we can actually bypass the body and watch to see if the system works. And it works. There's nothing wrong with the system. And so I'll say, well, if there's nothing wrong with the system,
Yeah.
do you think maybe there's something wrong with you? And they'll say, oh no, it's not me. It can't be me. I'm resistant to everything. It's not
Right.
me. And so I said, think about this for a second. If you have a resistant personality,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
skeptical demeanor,
Yeah.
nothing gets through. So you will not get current flow. So all the things are right, but what's
Mm.
wrong is their personality, their belief
Right.
structures. The
Yeah.
body cannot achieve what the mind will not believe.
Exactly.
And so you won't get current flow, which
Wow.
shows up in the app. And there's a physical representation in the app that says you are resistant. And
Oh,
they're
wow.
still saying, no, I'm not.
Oh,
Right?
that's insane.
No, I'm
Yeah.
not. It's not
Yeah. Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
It's not me. It's your tech. It's your thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
they'll say the same thing about everything else in the world.
Yeah.
It's not me that's causing the stress. It's you.
Mm.
You did
Wow.
it to me. Right?
Oh my God. I have them work with the coil for a while with work on destructing the
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, even our objective, our main objective um, is to teach and to assist people in letting go, in
Right.
surrendering some
Yes.
aspect of their self that has caused their demise, that has caused their
Mm-hmm.
dysfunction. There is a cause,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not your diet. It's not um, your coworker or your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
It is your personality. And
Yeah.
so when you want a new personal reality, you've got to change your personality.
And your perception of, yeah.
That's personality. Personality
Right.
is a complete accounting of
Right.
all your sensory input.
Right, right.
And then the belief about that and the way you project how it's digested into the world, how that content is regurgitated.
Mhm.
So the reason I want to talk about principles is because if it doesn't matter if it is the fitness program or if it is the I don't know, the chakra program. It doesn't matter what program it is. If you are in a way of resistance, if you are in a way of sympathetic fight or flight nervous system,
Yeah.
um, I don't care if you're eating a non-GMO, organic, paleo, whatever diet you're eating, it's not working because the cell receptor sites are shut off. They're busy. They're busy mobilizing energy
Yeah.
to run or
Yeah.
fight. Yes,
Yeah.
acuity so that you can see, hear, smell, and feel better. You can
Yeah.
like I'm hyper aware. You're completely aroused, and your body's consuming energy. Your field of transmission is collapsed into your body. You're no longer even sending signals out because our body is equipped with a pineal gland, and the pineal gland is a piezoelectric transducer that
Mm.
sends a radio wave out into the world and receives radio waves from others. This is how you understand not just that one, but other parts of you, your reticular activating system, a system of neurological bundles that read information, 400 billion bits of information per second. Okay. The reticular activating system is reading 400 billion bits of information per second. This is I mean,
I can't even
I know you can't even grasp
grasp
it
that.
because you and I and everything we're doing right now, our awareness, everything we see, taste, touch, smell, all of the things, everything that's coming into your awareness right now, everything. And that's a lot, right? If you just look around, you're like, whoa, there's a lot going on here. I'm so capable. I could be running my Healy over here. I could be multitasking on another program over here while I'm on a Zoom here talking. I'm keeping my thoughts in alignment. I'm doing a lot. All of that is only 2,000 bits of information
Wow.
through the reticular activating system. So 2,000 bits versus 400 billion. Do you think there's a lot going on in the background that you don't know?
Holy moly.
There's a
So much untapped
there's a
territory.
there's a lot going on in the background that you're not
Okay.
consciously or even physically aware of.
Right.
And so this is where we need to understand that our personality
Mhm.
is imprinted into that 400 billion bits. What we believe is true is regulating and running that whole big orchestration of bandwidth,
Mhm.
everything. And this is why what we think are like little coincidences or synchronicities that happen, they're not.
Mhm.
It's only our personality that was able to build the model,
Mm.
and this entire intelligence of the reticular activating system and that bandwidth of content makes it true for you.
Mhm.
It
Love
draws
that.
in
Mm.
very specific things. It coaxes you to look this way and just happen to see this opportunity
Yeah.
versus that way and miss it.
Right. Yeah.
It's amazing. This is our power of manifestation. And
Exactly.
it's also built into every genetic code
Mm.
of those 800,000 cells. So we need to understand our power. This is our divine power. And we have instruments, devices, systems that can amplify that and assist us with this.
Right.
But even the best of assistants, if we fire them, they no longer work for us.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Oh, geez. All right. So that was super, super amazing. I love that. I love everything you just named, everything you spoke about. Makes so much sense. I mean, this is what I love talking about, and I talk about this all day long, and it's just I love it. I could just all day long talk about this. I kind of want to take it back to the fitness program because I really want to. I have a lot of um, I live in Eastern Townships in Quebec. So we've got a lot of ski mountains, we've got a lot of biking, we've got a lot of activity, a lot of athletes, and I kind of want to take it into their field. And I want to be able to talk about frequencies and how it can help them. Well, I mean, besides everything that we just named, because that's that I'm capable of explaining, and I love hearing it. Always love hearing it from someone else as well, because it's just, it just kind of packs it all up. But yeah, so how can so like, how are you using it besides your muscle program? How do you use it every day to see your results? And how would you suggest that I go about it when I approach athletes about it? What would be some key points that I could talk about?
I love that because if we're gonna focus in or hone in on a demographic,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And everybody has something they're really passionate about, a demographic.
yeah.
Yours maybe is fitness. And other ones might be the auto mechanic field. I don't know, whatever. But where people are really passionate about the people they know and how do we interface with them. So this is why I talk about principles, because it
Yeah.
doesn't matter who you're talking about or to, if we
Mm,
understand, if we could teach them the epigenetic influence on their body right now and how we can come in and assist that, aka constructive interference, coherent signaling, and we
mm.
talk about those things,
I love that.
um, understand it's constructive interference. There's two ways in thermodynamics or physics. We have constructive interference or destructive interference, so one that amplifies and one that nullifies
Right.
um, prospectively. So when we understand that we're either being coherent with something or incoherent with something, a person just got done doing a workout and they moved weight. They were coherent with the actual anti-gravity function of
Mm,
moving the weight. They were overcoming the interference, right? So they were destructive to interference or gravity influence and constructive to the lift. So it's a two-way street,
right.
yin and yang. Okay, so when we're talking to an athlete, we talk to them in regards to repair, recovery, and growth. Do you want to increase your repair cycle and decrease the refractory period, the time it takes? Then
Mm,
what we need to do is we need to amplify your cell's capacity. How do we amplify it? Constructive interference.
mhm,
So there's cold plunge to stimulate a hibernative state, so that all the resources that would normally be going into thermal preservation is going into cell regeneration.
mm.
You only got so much energy. And so what happens to people that are not doing well in their recovery protocol is they go in and they work out like a fiend, and then they go to work and stress out about the boss's request.
Right, right.
Okay, you'll get recovery because you've trained your body in a certain way and it has its natural process.
Mm,
It's natural 800,000 cells per second doing their work. But you want to shorten the time it takes to get to your next workout, then you need to start reducing energy consumption and amplify particular functions. And Healy helps you amplify particular functions.
mm.
And so number one is run the defense program from the bioenergetic support page one. That
Okay, defense,
that's
right,
that's the immune program.
right.
Everything, when we boil everything down to the basis, I don't know, we just pluck a carrot out of the ground, we chomp it down, and we have some minerals and nutrients and vitamins that are in that carrot.
Mm,
We could have just gone and taken a spoonful of dirt where that carrot was and ingested it. But the problem is nature requires a regurgitation of minerals so that this body can assimilate it.
right.
And therefore the plant and the carrot, the fruits of the or the roots do that work for us.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need support in being able, we can add to the support structures of these cells, of these muscle cells, recovering and being ready for the next exercise. But the support is not just nutritional. We need to take hostage or seduce those 800,000 cells per second and that 97% of the adaptive code. We need to give it information to amplify its effect.
Hmm.
All we're doing is being coherent or constructive
Right.
to that 97% of the code. if you write a perfect code, you get a perfect cell.
Mm.
I don't care what the influence is. Perfect code, perfect cell.
Mm.
Okay. You can be asleep. You could be working out again. Perfect code, perfect cell. So we want to take charge of that. And I just gave you the principles, not one, but all
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
Um, there's an amazing scientist, biochemist. His name is Dr. Bill Andrews. He's the guy who Time Magazine um, coined the man who stopped time. So
Oh, wow.
his team won the Nobel Prize for the discovery of the telomerase enzyme, the telomere,
Yeah, the telomere.
the enzyme that actually creates the telomere or
Mm.
builds that. And his research is in amplifying the enzyme, creating more of it. When you do that, you're giving you're changing the telomere, you're increasing the bands of the in that telomere and the bases, they're called bases, but they're increasing the number of bases because when you get a certain number of bases, you're dead.
Right.
So his science is how you increase that. Now, we're giving codes in that genetic strand around the telomere, around the telomere,
Yeah.
and as part of those enzymes are in there.
Oh.
So you want to turn back the hands of time, you want to reverse aging or slow it down. Again, it's in the code.
Right. Right. So the vitalization programs are basically programs that target the telomere, no?
Stem cells.
The stem cells.
The
Okay.
bioenergetic vitalization page, that whole page is all around stem cell production and targeting, amplifying. And you'll see the different names in that page. It's all about amplifying stem cells within that category, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And it's effective. Again, it's like, okay, we need a formula. And the first part of the formula is brain and heart coherence
Mm.
because that triggers or that determines HRV, heart rate variability.
Right.
And the smaller the variability, the better the health. So, brain heart coherence stimulates a near perfect HRV. Near perfect HRV allows and promotes and promises that you're in the parasympathetic.
Mm.
And I don't care if you're benching 250 right now. If you can maintain that, this is a mind and heart balance. This is you doing it as a consciousness, not anything else, not a drug, not a stimulus, nothing, not even Healy. This is you
Hmm.
doing it. Healy can assist you, but it's you having to make that the only thing possible in that moment. So, mind heart coherent or brain heart coherence, perfect HRV, stimulus of repair, recovery, and growth, and then stimulating the immune system, creating an immune system because now science is showing the fundamental basis of building is a strong immune system.
Mm.
The basis. Now they're building peptides that go in and signal very
Yes.
specific aspects of the body, which is your
Yes.
immune system. It amplifies not just the whole thing, but components of it. And and now there's muscle that's being built. And I'm this is the next phase of where I'm doing, but they're showing muscle being built 24/7.
Wow. Wow.
And this is not a drug. This is a signaling to the body, and the body just says, "Oh, I'm in. You asked me,
Yeah.
you asked me to do it, I'll do it."
Mm.
It's like a program in your computer. It
Right.
doesn't matter the computer. It'll do the program. Of course, the resources the computer has will determine how fast that happens, right? Just like if you don't put the resources in there, the raw materials, diet
Mm.
is important. The
Mm.
other part that's super important is breathing.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
You
So
need
important.
you need oxygen, right? You need good transport. So, so does that make sense? All that,
Yeah, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you. I had a question and it just disappeared. Oh yeah, I just wanted to ask a question on the defense. So you're saying that running the defense program often,
every day,
every day,
every day. Here's your sta-
muscle and defense.
here's your three staples.
Okay.
Number one, defense program.
Right.
Number two, muscle.
Right.
Muscle is 64% of your immune system anyway.
Oh, right.
Number three, memory, brain.
Hmm.
You got to, if you can't remember what to do, yeah. Now, most of the time, the reason that our memory is so absent isn't because you're losing parts of your brain. It's because that's just the resources for memory is being allocated for fight or flight.
Right. Also, yeah, that and too much junk in the trunk.
It's well, again, the brain that's incoherent
Mm.
will stimulate a incoherent heart, and you will not have HRV.
Mm.
You will not have a good HRV variable.
Mm.
So look at the cycle, look at the circle. If you build a balanced process in your mind, manage your thoughts. Don't believe them all. You have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. That's just neuroscience. And you need to have a very powerful ability to just ignore them. The
Yeah.
the monkey mind, the chatter, the constant rehearsal, that kind of thing is like, huh. And the way I hack that whole thing is with curiosity. I just go, hey,
Mm.
thanks
Yeah.
for thanks for that thought. Haven't visited that one for a long time, and that sucks, but thanks. I appreciate it. I don't know where that came from, but it doesn't matter because the body has a history that helps
Mm.
trigger the mind's response. And if you smell a perfume, right, or
Hmm.
see a blue car,
Yeah.
and and there's traumatic content associated with that,
Mhm.
the trigger still comes where your healing remains is what you choose to do with the trigger,
Right, exactly. Your capacity to
process or eliminate, or just you're just not
non-reactive.
you're not getting on board with it. You're
Yeah.
allowing the law of allowance. You're allowing,
Yeah.
observing, and releasing.
Yeah. I love that it's the curiosity. It's just
Oh,
like, oh, thank you. Don't need you today.
I
Bye.
haven't had that one for a while. Wow. Well, I mean, yeah, I see you.
Yeah.
I'm done with you, so adios. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I hope everyone can get there on their healing journey and not Healy journey, but I mean their healing journey because it's
Exactly.
all about that. It's releasing the traumas. We don't need to be, walking life with this pack sack full of traumas that don't serve.
100%.
Yeah.
It leads to a body that just has less energy
Yeah.
overall
Yeah.
for doing the other building blocks. And remember, to whatever degree you are in sympathetic or fight or flight,
Mm.
means that to the same degree, three very vital systems are down regulated in energy. These
Hmm.
three very vital systems get really little to no energy when you're in fight or flight. System number one is digestion.
Hmm.
There's no energy for digesting food. Like I said, it don't matter if it's non-GMO, organic,
Yeah.
whatever your thing is, it's just sitting there doing nothing for you and then
Yeah.
winding up being created as waste and shot out the other end. Right? The bioavailability of it is goes down to zero.
Yeah. Yeah.
System number two is your immune system. The reason that
Mhm.
most people that are super stressed out or sick is because their body can't fight off a simple opportunist,
Mhm.
a virus,
Mm.
a mold, uh,
Mm.
an infection. They're all just opportunists and looking for a spot to grow. And the body says, nope, no opportunity here, or says, yep, come on, I'll feed you.
Yeah.
And so we need to really pay attention to that. System number three, and this is one for the folks who are trying to build a family out there, your
Yeah.
reproductive system.
Yeah.
System number three,
Positive information. Infertility.
It's not time to make a baby when you're, or make a life when you're running for your life.
No, no.
That fight or flight trigger
Mm,
is built in, it's innate in this prehistoric brain. And it doesn't matter. I mean, we get a bad email, it's the same response to the body as
mm,
being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. It is exactly the same to the body. Now, your perception of it is just an email. That's not a tiger, it's an email.
yeah,
True. But your perception's creating the response, and the response is millions of years old.
yeah,
I don't care how much work you're doing on yourself. I don't
yeah.
care how spiritually aligned you are or enlightened you are. You still have that ancient component to you that's kept you alive to this point.
Hmm.
Okay, so then understand it. Build in a refractory period when a trigger comes in and the time before the response. Give yourself time to be curious, let it go, and know you're awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Good advice. All right. Oh, awesome. So people that are training
Yep.
after their, muscle building, their regeneration and relaxation programs help them come back into a parasympathetic.
Yes, you want to get back into the parasympathetic as soon as you can,
Right.
typically within 20 minutes of reaching your resting heart rate.
Okay.
So again, this is the protocol as you go in pre-nutrition, folks. Pre-nutrition, an hour before your workout. You want to have a surplus of resources on board before the body needs it.
Right.
And this is what really a lot of people make a mistake. It hasn't digested yet. It's not even in your bloodstream yet. People are
Mm,
trying to hurry up and get to their workout, and they just gobble down a bagel and a cup of coffee. It's like, sorry,
wrong.
wrong, wrong materials. And I suggest that you do it at a minimum of an hour before your workout. So it's on board, it's ready to go. And you need the proper 9 amino acids, essential amino acids. There's
Yeah.
9 of them. I would suggest all 91 minerals, and you can get that through like I use Baja Gold salt.
Yeah.
Uh,
Perfect.
and I have an amazing amino acid product that has basically no carbs, but all the aminos.
Perfect.
You just whatever,
Perfect.
make sure that it's there. The essential amino acids, not just people do the branch chain amino acids. Okay, not enough.
Yeah.
Not enough. You
Okay.
need all the building blocks to assimilate the proteins you're taking in. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's do that.
So
All right.
minerals, proteins, well, amino acids, but they nine essential.
Yeah. So amino acids,
An hour before.
proteins, minerals, hydration. Again, part of those minerals are electrolytes.
Right.
They're in that 91.
Yeah.
So hydration, so proper amounts of water. I don't care. You can do a lot of water. It's okay. Now, if you're going to be running, I don't recommend. This is why I say do it an hour before.
Yeah.
The mass of content that's in the stomach, right? When you're doing some oscillation, running or some hit programs or something like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
that oscillation is what creates upset in the gut.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not that it's not so much the content, it's the mass. It's when you move, it's
Yes.
straining on all of those connective tissues that
Right.
keep the gut in a certain spot. And you
Yeah,
just,
it makes sense.
you know, and so
Yeah.
there's physical matter in there, it's
Yeah.
sloshing around. And it creates agitation, irritation, and gut upset. So an
Mm,
hour before, your hydration is going to be based on kind of your own fielding of what you can handle, what mass you can handle in the gut. You're
mm.
sweating like crazy, so the turnaround rate's pretty fast. And I also suggest body temperature or room temperature water,
Right. Yeah, that's so much better for the stomach.
not
Yeah.
cold. Yeah, well, the
Yeah.
body has to use energy to raise it to the temperature of assimilation anyway. That's your own
Right.
body's temperature. So it's like if you're just drinking water to consume calories, then don't be working out at the same time.
Yeah, I know. So do you do any programs pre-workout?
Yeah. So again, setting the body into that sympathetic, the bed rest program. It's not going to make you sleepy,
Okay,
but
parasympathetic.
it
So you're
moves you.
getting,
I'm sorry, it moves you into parasympathetic,
yeah,
and so it moves you into parasympathetic. So you hour before you've done your nutrition.
yeah,
That program is 45 minutes long.
yeah.
Run it 45 minutes prior to your workout. Now your
Okay.
body's primed for the experience. And
Ah,
during your workout, run the muscle program with microcurrent
yeah.
and the strength program with the coil.
Oh, nice.
And why do you do
Okay.
that? Because of the ATP production around muscle creation, the cells
Yeah.
themselves, with microcurrent, and then the magnetic influence is signaling that 97% of the adaptive gene to be what kind of muscle? Strong.
Strong. Right. That makes sense. I love working dual programs together. Yeah.
100%. And then you can even have a mag Healy that
Mm.
has charged the water you're drinking with
Mm-hmm.
fitness, right? And then also
Love it.
that same mag Healy is sitting in the room next to you running the fitness module, or something from the atmosphere,
Workout.
or workout, I'm sorry, workout
Yeah. Yeah.
with that module. So now you have a trifecta. Well, actually you have four
Yeah.
because the water's
Amazing.
been charged. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
you've done all the pieces necessary. Then after your workout, within 20 minutes of your completion of your workout, run defense and do your recovery protocol.
Mm.
Because the defense program is your immune system. It's your rebuild protocol. And simultaneously, so that's with the microcurrent.
Okay.
Simultaneously with the coil, you could be running regeneration from the fitness page.
Ah.
You see
Oh,
this?
I'm so trying that.
That's synergy. You're
Wow.
you're
Yeah.
speaking to that 97% of the adaptive gene, asking what quality and kind. How do I do what this cell's supposed to do? What do I tell this cell to be? What kind of personality should I tell it to be? It's going to be a bone cell, but what kind of personality of that bone
Yeah.
cell?
Right. Right. So smart. So smart. This
Yeah.
is next level.
Now I also add, so in the performance nutrition, so 20 minutes after your resting heart rate is achieved.
Yeah.
That's the window. So you're working out, your heart rate's up, and you can watch it slow down. When it hits that slowdown, that clock starts. You got 20 minutes to get that nutrition in. Okay. That's when you hit the master part of your metabolic rate. Your body
Mm.
will go into catabolic state soon. After that 20 minutes, you're in a catabolic state. So it's better that it in the gut, in other words, the path of least resistance, which is the gut, the resources live. And so the body can consume them from there. Otherwise, they will
Mm.
take it from the amino acids will come from your muscle.
Right.
And you'll wind up having less muscle mass as a result of your workout. And this is where so many people, because the recovery protocol sucks. When you put the proper amino acids in your body
Mm.
after the recovery, so you've done it before, an hour before, and then you do it after, part of the nine essential amino acids is leucine,
Yeah.
and leucine helps buffer lactic acid, and it's lactic acid that causes the
Um,
soreness.
right. Exactly.
And so people are sore for days. They're ruined from doing another workout because their recovery protocol sucked.
Mm.
They took and if you just, up the leucine, and it's like,
Losing.
and you're going to see a buffering. It's not going to get rid of it. So here's this, it's necessary. When you stimulate action, the fight or flight mechanism kicks in, stimulate action, the body produces human growth hormone.
Right.
Bam, you start
Yeah.
producing human growth hormone, and human growth hormone then stimulates lactic acid. And lactic acid is buffered at the end when you stop. You just got chased by a tiger, you stop, you start grazing again in the field, right? And you're eating leucine, right?
Yeah.
And then that buffers the lactic acid so you're not sore, so you can run from the tiger again.
Ah, wonderful. Perfect. So
Yeah.
are you doing those same amino acid mix and minerals after the training, 20 minutes after?
Yes, your pre-workout nutrition is pretty much mimicked after as your post-workout nutrition. Now, here's the other piece: post nutrition.
Ah.
2 hours later, exact same thing.
Oh, nice.
2 hours later, exact same thing because the body's consumed everything you just did in that 20-minute
Okay.
after, and it's going, not done yet.
Okay. And is the amino acid in the digital nutrition, is that something that could be, I think there's a program, there's a mix for that. Would that be something useful to interject somewhere?
Yeah, you could definitely. So after your
Post?
after your
Yeah.
dual program of defense program and the
Regeneration.
regeneration, your microcurrent and coil.
Yeah. Yeah.
After that, because you can easily run 3 microcurrent programs a day. So you already did one before your workout.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing one during your workout. Your body can acclimate. I do probably 7,
So
but
do I.
but I my body. You don't do it out of the chute,
No, no.
um, because what the only side effect though is like detox symptoms. You
Yeah.
know, headaches, muscle
Headaches.
aches, brain fog. It feels like your body's detoxing. You're like, yep, okay, I
Too
overdid it.
much. Yeah. That's when you
So
know.
that's when it won't kill you.
No.
It's not even going to be really detrimental. It's just uncomfortable.
Right.
So then again, 2 hours later, you can do there's regeneration from the digital nutrition. You can also run the amino acid. There is a one that's called amino acid
Yeah, I think so.
in the digital nutrition
Yeah.
protocol.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so you can do that. And there are other in the stem cell, there's 1, 2, and 3. It's
Yeah.
it's those are to get the body trained to produce within that category at level 1, then level 2, level 3, kind of training it. So you can also run those.
Mm.
Level 1, the first time you do it, the next day you do if you run level 2, and the next day you run level 3, and then you run level 3 from then on.
Oh, okay. That's how you do it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Used to be a protocol built into like that in the Deep Cycle. And when Deep Cycle H came out, the first 3 programs in Deep Cycle used to be what was it called? It was called
Application one, two, and three, or
one.
something like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
application 1, 2, and 3, and that was just to get the body acclimated to microcurrent.
Right. Oh, okay.
And then they took those out and they put in because they wanted to have more, I guess, more variety. Where the process, the concept was, well, we'll use the gold cycle page as the process of acclimating the body, starting with pure and then moving around the circle, 1 per day for a week. That's why there's 7
Mhm.
on that page, by the way.
Ah, okay. Is that the proper protocol? Is to do one of those programs per day?
Yeah, I always start people in regards to how do you start. Healy, start with the gold cycle page. That's why it's on every edition that's.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you'll notice the alignment, the array of those
Yep.
programs, they're not like in line after line.
Yeah. Pure's at the top.
Yeah, there's pure and there's like this angular
Yeah.
shape with one in
Yes.
the middle.
Yep.
That's because you're supposed to go along with what we call the Fibonacci circle.
Oh.
And if you go from the top down uh, to the left and make that arc along the bottom, and then you end in the middle.
Ah.
And that's the sequence in which you run.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's like wow,
I did not know that.
it's kind of the array is like the Fibonacci circle
Yeah, I love that.
arc. Yeah,
So when you're training, last question, because I know I've monopolized you for quite a while, but do you use the Cosmic Growth program while you're training? Because this is a program that's the Fibonacci sequence.
I I don't
Okay.
because let's there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
Okay.
everything has a value, but we have over 200 programs. Come on,
Yeah.
we need to
Yes.
kind of like from an engineering perspective, let's be efficient
Right.
and let's move the needle with the highest degree of amplitude.
Okay.
So we're just talking to genetic codes.
Yeah.
Where would that input to the genetic code be serving? If we're giving it the Fibonacci circle, cosmic growth
Mm.
versus muscle. which one do you think is more effective right now,
Yeah, or strength. Right.
or
Yeah.
strength, or the
Yeah.
ones I just named? So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that those aren't useful. I'm just saying that we want to be specific,
Right.
we want to be impactful.
Okay.
And so that's kind of where we want to make sure that we're working on stimulating what we want to stimulate, um, and support the repair, recovery, and growth of it.
Yes, that's the essential. And last mini question, I promise. The defense, the defense in the power of three versus the defense in harmony one.
So the defense that is in the bioenergetic harmony one is for the immune system.
Okay.
The one that's in the power of three is mm, an energy defending against, um,
Mm.
m- more so against, I mean, people believe it's in terms of spiritual influence, um,
Okay,
uh,
so kind of like,
it's a bigger, it's outside the genetic codes,
okay,
outside, more of a defense about against a
like a
bigger,
shield or something, or like a
bigger foe,
protection.
I guess. It's believed, again, it's that power of three, that whole page was designed from a more mystical aspect,
Right. Ayurvedic.
Ayurvedic, and they added the more of the older technologies, which is, also the Rife frequencies are on there.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The classical physical and the classical energetic, those are both the Rife categories in those two. The Zapper protocol, again, just
Love it.
yeah, parasite kind of things, right?
Mm.
Um, Again, conflict balance, it's on there. That is an emotional, mental, spirit.
Mm.
And then so the defense is also within that category. Defense
Okay.
against what? Defense against things that are mostly psychologically not serving you.
Like parasitic thoughts.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
And then the friendly flora designed to support the bacterial systems of our digestive system, because that's where we build the neurotransmitters.
Right. Absolutely. So important. And vitamins and yeah, so many other things.
A lot of things happen there, and and then that whole rebalance on that page versus balance on, say, um, the gold cycle page, little
Yep.
spin, rebalancing you as a cosmic being, as a spiritual goddess, as a
Oh,
as a god amongst gods.
I
I mean,
love that.
no, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Because
Nice program.
we are
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
are discounting their value, and I I want to promote, and this is one of the things I was um invited to speak at the 2025 inaugural presidential event this weekend in DC.
What?
So I'll be in DC Saturday
Wow.
this weekend,
Wow.
and so I'm going to be speaking my part. That what they've asked me to speak about is the Make America Healthy Again.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
And so my key points I want to stress is um, is really about declaring your greatness. And I'm going to give some points about what that means, how great you really are. If you knew that 800,000 cells per second are reorganizing, and you have 97% control over the genetic code of every one of them. You, not your trauma, not your baggage, not your past, not your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or your brother, your sister. You, as a consciousness and awareness, you are in control of that. And so
Mm.
the key points I want to teach America, and
Step into your greatness.
I am, it's got to declare your greatness.
I love it.
I'm gonna
Declare
say
your.
I'm gonna say that on stage. I'm gonna say, and here's how you do it.
Oh, they are so lucky. Oh my God, this is great news.
It's gonna be I so here's my intention. I created over a decade ago is I just want to teach, and what I want to teach specifically is how to heal.
Yeah.
And so over that over that last decade, I mean, that's where my dive into neuroscience and epigenetics has been intense. And then also then the last 4 years, I refined that model into I want to heal the world.
Yeah.
And I started building a healing center model. So I've got an entire system that shows a 4,000 square foot healing model, healing center model, all the 100 modalities, all of the analysis engines to find out what people need, all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't going very far until I really revisited my intention of I want to heal the world. And that's been my intention, my meditations, everything about that is I want to heal the world. And it's like, okay, Ken, you want to heal the world, but you're only building a 4,000 square foot healing center. We're not going to fit 8 billion people in there. And I was like, light bulb, right? It was a
Yeah.
moment that I was like, oh my God, I got to make this duplicatable. I got to make this shareable.
Yeah.
I got to teach the world how to do it themselves.
Yes.
And so I launched Core Effect in May. Core Effect is a portable, duplicatable, analytical, and treatment modality you can take with you anywhere in the world. So
Wow.
that
Okay.
that just launched, and Healy's part of it. Microcurrent is part of the modalities. There's five. There's five modalities, and you can put them in a carry-on that go on anywhere in the world. And I've done it. I was in India. They invited me to India a few months ago to present this. It's the since I built it, the moment you build something that the world needs,
Oh,
the
yeah.
world will find you.
Absolutely.
And
Do you
and
have a link for that? I would love to follow you.
I have so I present everything on my social media.
Okay, so I'll just follow you there then.
That's where everything goes. I have a video on YouTube. If you just on YouTube, you just search what is Quora effect.
Cora.
Um,
Cora
Quora
C-A or
Quora
C-O?
is Q U O
Oh,
R
Q-U.
QUORA
Yeah.
EFECT, one word,
Okay.
like Quebec, right? It's got Quebec.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so I mean, there's a very specific meaning to Quora, and the effect of that. Quora means in a much older sense, it means the number of justices it takes to make a decision.
Wow.
So this is a system, the effect, the number of systems it takes to make a change. And there's five of them. So we use light, microcurrent, vibration, sound, and oxygen.
Oxygen's like so key. Yeah.
And and
Well,
and we can do it. I could lay you down. I can implement all five of those at once, and in 20 minutes I can move your autonomic nervous system.
I followed you on Facebook and I saw the story about your father.
That's what I used.
That's what you use. That is phenomenal. Wow.
I did again, this is things that came to me as an understanding, and I know that
Yeah.
an idea is a gift from God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where'd it come from? Oh, it's my idea. Really? Did you have it before? No, it was an idea. Well, then where'd it come from?
Right.
Was it yours, really? Well, where'd it come
Um,
from? People say it's my idea. Where'd it come from? It's a gift from God.
Capacity to tune in. Yeah.
A gift from God. And so if you take that information, it only came to you because you're the one with the knowledge, the skills, the
Mhm.
drive, the background, the network, whatever it is. And if you don't do something with it, somebody else will.
Exactly.
Exactly. Through college, I have tons of blueprints. I've created circuits, systems. I build all kinds. I'm a welder, fabricator. I do all kinds. My blessing is my hands. Uh,
Yeah.
and they're just servants of my mind.
Yeah.
And I have so many blueprints that I've created back from the mid 80s. And every one of those blueprints are inventions today in this world. I didn't do any of them.
Wow.
I'm like, dang it. I wish dang,
Uh.
but the truth is that they were gifts.
Hmm.
And for some reason, the world needed them. Here's a perfect example. Are you familiar with the Escalade, the vehicle?
Yeah.
Looks like
Yes.
looks like a pickup, but it's a
Yep.
car, right?
Huge. My dad has one. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's many of the manufacturers make a version of that from different manufacturers. Same thing, same concept.
Yeah.
You got a front seat, a back seat, and a bed, a truck bed, right?
Yeah.
But it's not a truck. Anyway, so in 1998, I took a Suburban, a Chevy Suburban. You know what a Suburban is, right?
Yeah.
Big old SUV. And I chopped it up, cut it up, built it into a exactly that. It was a two-door, two seats with a box, a bed, like a pickup.
Yeah.
I mean, I tricked it out. It was incredible. It turned out. I mean, I'd never done anything like that, but I was divinely guided. I, in fact, had to learn how to MIG weld so I could weld the material. I had to learn all that. I mean, I'm like Einstein had to learn certain things to be able to show his theories. I'm like, okay, I can do this too.
Wow.
And anyway, so I created this vehicle, this system, and this was in 1998. Escalade, first Escalade came out in 2000. I created that idea, and
Yeah.
the rest of the world built it.
Yeah. It was picked up somewhere. Someone else put it into action.
I'm like, dang, think about that patent. Hooey.
Oh, dang. Well,
Yeah.
it's all good. Now you're on to more. So that was a whole culmination is your Cora effect,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Now, I mean, now, again, it's all these ideas. Everything I engineered before were,
Mm.
different kinds of circuitry and different kind of mechanical things and such like that. But the belief and the faith in the idea from the divine is
Mm.
what drove me into continuing to refine my idea around a healing center, right? And allow it to evolve instead of being egoic
Yeah.
and saying, nope, it's got to look like this,
I want it this way. Yeah.
and that's resistance, no different than a resistive attitude or mentality. You're not going to get microcurrents through the body, nor will you get any synergy with the world.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
yeah, so that came out. Um, I mean, it was pretty fun. I don't know. I just think that we have so much power that we need to really, really let go of the things that don't work. And I had this conversation uh, just last night on the presentation I did. Every month I do what's called a Monday Night Magic with Lori Falk,
Okay.
and it's all about epigenetics.
Oh, I love it.
And we talk about things. And so last night, uh, oops, hang on a second. That was,
Is that's not a picture of you?
yeah, that's me.
Oh, wow.
With my katana. That's called my purple warrior. That's my sword, one of them. So reason I popped that up, I was going to show you something real quick. Um, let's see.
Oh, I saw your eyes were down. I'm like, what is he doing? I didn't want to call you out on it.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
Uh,
it's all good.
so what I wanted to show here, real quick here, is there it is.
Oh,
That,
wow.
that's what I built.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So I cut this Suburban up. I welded in.
So you actually cut it up. You actually created
I
it.
actually cut it. I welded in the back, right back there. I welded in a pickup cab. I welded in steel rails. I put in did some
Nice.
customizing things, lifted it up, put big tires. It was my rough and rowdy rig.
Yeah, very cool.
My boys loved it. We used to go. We'd put I could hook up. I actually put fifth wheel hook hitch in it. I don't know if you see that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I see it. Yep.
So I pulled a fifth wheel that I also built, which is a 15-foot camper. I pulled behind it, and
Oh, nice. So you actually pulled it with that.
and so like I said, my hands are my
Yeah.
gift. I'm one of those things that I think is important is not being afraid to use your gift.
Mm,
Like I said, I did not know how to weld sheet metal. I didn't know how to MIG weld. I knew how to stick weld, but I didn't know how to MIG weld. A MIG weld is what you need for really thin metal. And so I learned I had to buy a welder, I had to learn how to use it. And I took a Suburban that was a driving, running Suburban, drove it into the shop on Friday night, and I drove it out on Sunday, cut up and built like that. Not painted yet, not all of the graphics and all that, but
Yeah, yeah.
literally the structure was done and built. It was 37 hours
What?
of work I did. And just me and my brother-in-law goes, "Hey, can I help you?" Sure.
Amazing. Amazing.
When your mind believes, your
Yes,
body achieves.
absolutely. That's what it's about. Amazing.
We're all special.
Yeah,
We're all special. And until we believe it, the body won't achieve it and it won't
absolutely.
demonstrate it in the world. We need to, again, declare our greatness,
Mm,
let the mind believe it, and then these bodies will achieve a world of healing, of health. It's not just a one-man band or a one-woman band, but let's co-create, let's partner,
yeah.
right? So hopefully this helped.
Oh my God. I don't want to add anything. That was just so beautiful how you just wrapped that all up.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. I hope to have another conversation with you in the future. You are full of knowledge and so graceful and generous with your time.
Mm,
We kind of went overboard, but I really love this moment that we shared together.
thank you very much. I'll stop the recording.